Dear students, after studying metallic resources, now let us turn our attention towards energy resources. Please remember coal, petroleum, and natural gas. These are the three major energy resources present in our country, and we will study them step by step. Please remember, besides these resources which I told you, we also have other sources of energy like energy obtained from the sun, energy obtained from wind, and we will be studying them step by step. Now, before we study step by step, let us find out what is the exact need of these energy resources in our country. Now think about it. If there is no electricity, dear students, how the industries will work? If there is no electricity, how we will get light in our house? If there is no electricity, how we will run our refrigerator? How we will use various devices present in our house? It means we need energy for industrial purpose as well as domestic purpose. Please remember, more the amount of energy present in a country, more will be the industrial development. More the industrial development, more will be the economic development. That means more money a country can earn. As well as these energy resources, dear students, are extremely needed in overall development of our country. Please remember, our country India is third largest user or consumer of energy in the world. Of course, the largest energy user in the world or consumer in the world is, of course, United Nations, followed by US, followed by China. Now, these energy resources, as I was talking about before some time back, dear students, are classified as conventional energy resources and non-conventional energy resources. Now, if I ask you a question, which of the energy would you be using in our day-to-day life for cooking food? So most of you will say we are using natural gas for cooking food. So do we use solar energy for cooking food? Yeah, we use, but in a very limited quantity. It means which one we are using on a very large scale, which are easy to use in our day-to-day life. We call such energy resources by the name conventional energy resources. So petrol, diesel, kerosene, cooking gas, coal, wood. Okay, these are used on a large scale in our day-to-day life. We call them conventional energy resources. Whereas non-conventional energy resources are, you can say, alternate sources of energy that we use in our day-to-day life. Now, first, conventional energy resources. First, look at some of the characteristics of these resources. First thing, they are in use since long time. And why are they used on a very large scale, as well as on a very large scale, and as well as for a long period of time, dear student? The reason is very simple. These energy resources are easy to obtain. For example, if I want to cook food, I can easily get kerosene, I can easily get cooking gas, that means LPG gas. But if I want to cook food during night time using a solar cooker, it's not possible. It means a conventional energy resources is easily available, readily available. I can very easily store in my house. I can easily handle it. I can easily transport it. Therefore, we will say, oh, it's easy to use. That means conventional energy resources are those energy resources which are easy to handle, easy to store, easy to transport, easy to obtain, and that's why we use them on a very large scale. Second thing, their calorific value, that means the quantity of energy obtained from them, is also very high, and we call that quantity of energy obtained on a large scale by using a word calorific value. So they are used on a large scale because their calorific value is very high. Now look at some more advantages of these conventional energy resources. Please remember, as I said some time back, they produce large amount of energy, okay, and they very easily burn. They are able to, in this way, are able to fulfill our energy demand, okay. They are able to fulfill our energy demand. And second important thing, as I said, they are more reliable. They are more reliable, that means we can use them whenever we want and in whatever quantity we want. So they are reliable as compared to non-conventional energy resources. Now another important characteristic, dear student, okay, because their uh, calorific value is very high, so even though they are costly, we use them on a very large scale. Now you know very well that the petrol prices are pretty high, so in spite of those very high prices, why do we use them? The simple reason, they are able to produce enough amount of energy, and petrol is also available very easily everywhere. So therefore we use them on a large scale. Then this electricity which is produced using water, dear students, we call it by the name hydropower or hydroelectricity. This electricity is very eco-friendly. It doesn't cause any pollution, dear students, okay. So it is very eco-friendly, and moreover it is reliable, and very importantly it is renewable also. That means as long as the earth is present, water will be available, and as long as water is available, we can keep on producing this hydroelectricity. So therefore these are some of the very important advantages of conventional energy resources. Now let us now look at some of the disadvantages of these energy resources. I am talking about conventional energy resources like petrol, then coal and diesel. One of them is, dear students, okay, that except this hydropower, that means hydroelectricity, they cause lot of amount of pollution. Second problem, they are also limited. Except what? Except this hydroelectricity, this all energy resources, okay, conventional ones, are limited. Therefore we have to use them very carefully. Then besides their very high cost, we have to spend a lot of money, dear students, in order to transport them from one place to another place. For example, in our country India, we don't have a lot of amount of petroleum. So what do? So we import it from other nations, so that transport cost also we have to pay. Then another problem is that when we are carrying out their mining, okay, extraction from the mines, that time they produce lot of amount of poisonous gases, okay, in the form of sulfides, in a form of arsenic, as well as the carbon dioxide gas also released during extraction. So these gases are quite poisonous, and in this way they cause lot of damage to our lives. So these are some of the disadvantages of these energy resources. You must have seen this picture, very common picture, very dangerous, okay. So pollution is one of the biggest problem associated with the use of conventional energy resources except hydroelectricity. One more disadvantage, dear student. Now look at this dam which is being constructed here. whenever a dam will be constructed, okay, that time a huge amount of deforestation is to be done. Now imagine this area, dear students, where water is being stored. So there what happens? First, if there are any settlements, we have to uh, carry out rehabilitation. Then the area which is now going to go underwater, there is a lot of destruction of forest. Okay, and in this way, it not only affects the plant life, but it also affects animal life living over there. And in this way, they result in ecological damage. Now, we will be looking at the important energy resources present in India. The first one, dear students, is coal, one of the very important energy resource. Now you must have heard that plants and animals got buried under the earth's surface millions of years ago. Okay, so this plant and animals, they got buried under the surface of the earth. So when they will get buried, okay, now let us say this is the surface, okay, these are the plants, and let us say these plants get buried under the earth's surface. So what will happen? These plants and animals, okay, which have got buried under the earth's surface, so there will be lot of pressure of the layers which are present above them, and when they will get buried, there will be lot of heat, okay, present below the earth's surface. You must have studied, as we go inside the earth, the temperature goes on increasing. So due to this pressure and heat that is present, these plants and animal bodies, dear students, they got converted into coal. Of course, it requires millions of years time. In our country, India, okay, we find four types of coal. Okay, in fact, all over the world, these four types of coals are present. And please remember, the quality of coal depends upon carbon present in it. Greater the amount of carbon present in it, more will be the calorific value, more will be the energy produced by them. So in this way, depending on carbon, dear students, there are four types of coal. The first one is called as anthracite coal, and this coal is the best variety coal in the world. The best variety. This coal, dear students, consists of 90% of carbon, almost 90% of carbon. And because the carbon content is more, it is called as the best type of coal. However, the quantity of this coal, okay, is not very large in our country, and we have studied one of the characteristic that greater the quality, less is the quantity. So because it is the best variety, its quantity is also found in less quantity in our country. Now second best variety is bituminous coal, dear students, which consists of 75 to 85% of carbon. I repeat, 75 to 85% of carbon, and this is the second best variety, and our country India has bituminous type of coal in largest quantity. The third one is called lignite, which consists of 40 to 60% of carbon, and it's found in Tamil Nadu in our country, a place called Neyveli. And the fourth quality or fourth type of coal, dear students, is called as peat, and this is the poorest quality of coal because its carbon content is less than 50%. In fact, it is around 35%. So because the carbon content are less, peat is a inferior type of coal. Now look at this picture. Now you will find this anthracite looks very shiny. This very great shine is because of carbon present in it. Okay, so if you look here, this is the most shiny, and peat type of coal is less shiny. Now you will realize that, oh, peat is having around 35% of carbon in it, whereas anthracite is having more than 90%. So that means more the carbon content, greater will be the shine, and more will be the shine, and therefore better will be the quality of also. So this anthracite is the best one, followed by bituminous. Third best is lignite, and peat is the inferior quality of coal. Now, please remember, coal is actually a type of rock. Okay, it's a type of rock, and it is sedimentary type of rock. Sedimentary means which is found in layers. See the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. Okay, so coal is found in the form of layers, and it is a sedimentary type of rock. Now, when we are carrying out extraction of coal, okay, there are two types of mining. I repeat, there are two types of mining. You will see here the people are seem to have gone inside the earth and they are extracting coal. We call it by the name underground mining. Now look at the next picture. Here it seems to be an open field. It seems to be open place. We call this kind of mining by the name open pit mining. So dear students, please remember, underground mining and open pit mining are the two types of mining related to coal. Now, you can see here the people are carrying out coal, and it's done. Now what kind of mining will be it? You are right, it is open pit mining, and this place that you are seeing here is Jharia. Please remember, Jharia in Jharkhand is the largest coal field in our country. Now, what kind of mining do you think will be? Yes, it is underground mining. Now, Raniganj, dear students, please remember, Raniganj is the oldest mine that is present in West Bengal, and it is the oldest coal mine in our country, India. We have seen some of these characteristics, that coal is basically sedimentary rock, and it is found during Carboniferous period. You have heard the name Jurassic period. Similarly, there is a period in the Earth's history, we call it Carboniferous period, which is 30 to 35 crore year ago. Okay, this period is called as the Carboniferous period. And related to coal, please remember, our country India is having the 5th largest deposits of coal, but we are a 2nd largest producer of coal. Now please remember, when we talk about the deposits, overall deposits, the quantity of coal in the world, so India is having the 5th largest quantity. Okay, but we are a 2nd largest producer. That means we are extracting maximum amount of coal. The reason is our country's population is also very high, so therefore we have to keep on extracting it in a large quantity in order to fulfill the demands of this very high population. Uses of coal. Now, first very important thing, we need to use coal, dear students, in order to produce electricity. Okay, you must have heard the name thermal electricity. Please remember, dear students, when we use coal, we actually heat water using coal, and the steam that is produced by heating water, that steam is used to run the turbine. Now turbine is a machine where electricity will be produced. Okay, so what does the steam do? So steam makes the turbine move, and during this process electricity is produced. We call that electricity by the name thermal electricity, and we require coal in order to produce that energy. Second is we require it for smelting iron. I will explain this step by step. We also use it in railways as a fuel. Then we require coal in many chemical industries, like for making dye, for making fertilizers, explosives, as well as some synthetic material. And dear students, the byproduct of coal, okay, example is a tar, which is used for making road. Then we use sulfur for making some pesticides. Okay, so and we also use coal as a domestic fuel. We use coal as a domestic fuel. Now let us look at them. This setup, dear students, that you see here, okay, as I told you some time back, we require coal in order to produce steam, and when this steam will escape, it will be used to make the turbines move and producing electricity. Remember, when we produce electricity by heating water and making steam, and that kind of electricity is called as thermal electricity. Thermal means by producing heat, we are producing electricity. Then I said coal is used for smelting. Now, what exactly is smelting? Okay, dear students, please look here. This setup or this huge container that you see here, okay, it is called as blast furnace. It is called as blast furnace. So during smelting, what is done? We take the ore, okay, metallic ore, and in that ore we add coal. We add coal. So coal does two important things. First, coal will produce heat, okay, which will melt this ore of a metal. And second important thing, coal will also react with the impure part present in the metallic ore, and then that impure part will be extracted. This process is called as where we are melting and also extracting the impure part. That process is called as smelting. Okay, so it is a metallurgical operation. Metallurgy is a process of extracting metal from their ores. I repeat, metallurgy is a process of what? Extracting ore, extracting metal from their ores, and we are using coal for that purpose. Okay, so it's a very important thing. Then this process, after this coal, as I said, is used. So now you can see here, this is, dear student, is molten iron. Iron which has got, okay, completely melted, which is now removed. Now this is quite pure. It's not 100% pure, but it is quite pure. So in this way, this heat is used to obtain the metal from its ore. Now, domestic fuel, that means we can use coal directly in our day-to-day life for cooking food as well as heating water. Now you can see here, now you can keep your vessels on this and you can directly cook food on the heat that is produced over here. You can also see here it is used for a process called roasting, and we can use coal for that purpose. Then in railway engines, it is used to produce steam, and that steam will make the engine move. So in this way, dear students, okay, we are finding a lot of uses of coal. I said some time back, coal is used to make some ingredients in a chemical industry. For example, you can see here sulfur, that is a byproduct of coal. as I said, is useful for making pesticides. Then we are also making phenol, okay, phenol here, which is having a medicinal property. Tar is in local language we called as a dumber, okay. This tar, dear students, that you are seeing here, tar, this is a tar which is used for making road. So this tar is also obtained from coal. We have studied, dear student, four types of coal. Among them, anthracite is the best coal. We use it for power generation, that means for producing electricity, also for producing uh, that energy, and used is as domestic fuel. And we have already studied what is smelting. If the question is asked why this anthracite is used on a large scale, so answer is because it consists of maximum carbon, and because it is consisting of maximum carbon, it will produce lot of amount of energy and less amount of smoke, because impure part is less. So therefore it is, if not very eco-friendly, but it is quite eco-friendly because it is producing maximum energy with minimum pollution. And second best one is bituminous, okay. It also is quite good, so it does not produce lot of ash, and less amount of sulfur is produced, and also less amount of pollution in general. Now you must have heard the name coke. Please remember, when coal is burned in insufficient amount of air, that time a better quality of coal is formed, which is called as coke. Okay, so for making this coke, we use bituminous type of coal and anthracite type of coal. Bituminous and anthracite coal are used to produce coke. Now, please remember some of the problems associated with coal mining. Now, coal is a very heavy mineral, dear students, and it requires a very heavy transport cost and very heavy transport equipments, and there is lot of irregularity in transporting it. Second is uh, in India we don't find the best quality of coal, okay, that is anthracite. Then the technology used in our India is also quite poor. And fourth problem is fire or floods that occur in the mine. Now let us look at this. Can you believe this? Okay, this is the actual fire that has taken place in a coal mine, and that is very, very destructive. Now you might wonder, floods, how do the floods occur? Now please remember, when we are carrying out mining, we have to dig out the land. When the land is dug out, lot of water is getting collected over there, that cause this flood like conditions. Then let us look at next one. Okay, it's easy to identify, okay, but believe me, this is the ash which has got collected in a water body present nearby the area where coal is burnt. And in this way, this ash is causing lot of amount of pollution, very, very dangerous. This ash which is produced when coal is burned is called as fly ash. Look at this. In our country, okay, the mining is done in a very primitive manner. Okay, we don't use very high quality machinery. So therefore, there is a lack of high skill and technology. It doesn't mean that we don't use technology at all. We do use, but it is not of a very high quality. Now, if you look at this machine which is used for extraction of coal, and with this kind of mining here, definitely this is having a very high quality technology, and in our country there is a lack of this high skill technology. So what will be now solutions for that? So then our country will have to make better infrastructure. Now remember, the meaning of the word infrastructure is basic facility. So basic facility will be what? Getting good amount of transport system available over there, then making the better quality of availability of machines over there. We can use the scientific mining technologies. We can also improve the safety standard in our country by adopting better technology, and our country can also carry out research how to go about it. And one more very important word, selective mining should be discouraged. It means if we should not select only one area and keep on carrying out mining at a very high rate at that particular place, that is called as selective mining. So if we carry out selective mining at one particular place, so there will be a lot of ecological damage. So we should avoid carrying out selective mining, and this is how we can reduce the problems of coal mining in our country, India. Now, the next one, dear student, next important energy resource for our country is petroleum. Petroleum is viscous, means sticky, black color liquid, which is a mixture of hydrocarbons, and these hydrocarbons are the one that burn and produce energy. Now, dear student, you will look here. Petroleum is generally found in the depth of the sea below the rocks. Scientists believe that plants, animals, as well as these microorganisms, okay, they get buried under the earth's surface, and their bodies also turn into the fossil fuel. We have seen how coal is formed. Similarly, petrol is also formed by the burial of plants and animals and microorganisms, okay, and over the period of time of billions of years, they get converted into petroleum. Okay, please understand this very important one. Now, you will find here this is a place from where petroleum is extracted. We call it as oil rig, RIG, oil rig. This is oil rig, okay. The place from where it is exactly extracted is oil rig or platform. Okay, this is in the sea. Okay, please remember, dear students, that petroleum is not found in water. Okay, below the earth, below this water, dear students, see this. Suppose this is water, okay, in the sea. Let us say this is the bottom of the sea. Okay, so what happens when the plants and animals or microorganisms get buried? Okay, so they also plant, animal, microorganisms, they have got buried along with what? Along with the sediment, along with the soil that was brought by the rivers and which got deposited in the sea. So what will happen? So there will be the pressure of water over whom? Over these buried plant, animals and microorganisms. And of course, below the earth's surface, there is lava. That means there is tremendous amount of heat. So this heat will cause these plant, animals, microorganisms, okay, to get decomposed, and because of the pressure from above layers, so heat plus pressure together convert the plants and animals bodies as well as microorganisms body in fuel, and which is then extracted. Okay, we call it by the name petroleum. Remember, another name for petroleum is mineral oil. We also call it by the name crude oil. Okay, crude oil. or mineral oil is another name for petroleum. Because this petroleum is found in the rock, it is called as petroleum. Please remember the word petra, okay, is a Latin word. The meaning of the word petra is a rock and oleum is oil. So petra plus oleum together, petroleum. Now you must be knowing that petroleum is used on an extremely large scale, not only for transport but for various other purposes, and we will see those purposes after some time. So because of its use in transport, in chemical industry, as well as in synthetic fiber making industry, it has got multiple uses, many uses. We call it by the name versatile. And please remember, after this petroleum is extracted, now look at this petroleum. Now we cannot use it directly. So we have to refine it. We have to purify it. Okay. And a place where it is purified is called as oil refinery. So after this petroleum is extracted, it is sent for refining process. This industry, dear student, see here is called as a oil refinery. Jamnagar oil refinery is actually the largest oil refinery, not only in India, but in the entire world. Okay, the place where petroleum will be purified, it will be refined. This place is called as oil refinery. I said petroleum is used for making variety of articles. We can use it for making artificial fiber, which can be used for making clothes. Synthetic rubber can be made using this petroleum, paraffin, wax, as well as plastic. So it has got multiple uses, many types of uses. In fact, more than 5,000 products can be made out of it. Therefore, it is versatile. Versatile means which can be used in variety of places. You will be surprised, even in cosmetic industry, even in medicine industry, we use we use petroleum. Now, uses of petroleum, the first one is it is compact and convenient fuel. We can use it very conveniently in a very we don't have to use very high technology to use it. We can use it in a very convenient way, very easily. Second thing, you can also transport this petroleum easily in a pipeline. You can see here, this pipeline is underwater. So when this petroleum is extracted from the depth of the sea, it can easily transported through a pipeline. Then we can use this petroleum for generating electricity. We studied some time back that coal is burnt and that coal is used to produce heat. That heat will convert water into steam, and that steam will produce the electricity by making the turbine move. In the same way, instead of coal, you can use petrol also or petroleum also to heat water to produce steam, which will be ultimately utilized, okay, for producing electricity. Now, the byproducts of petroleum have many uses to make lubricants, kerosene, Vaseline, benzene, and so on. Then this is also used, dear students, for making plastic, cosmetics, synthetic rubber, and even for making clothes. We saw a picture some time back. Okay, you can use it for making cosmetics or toiletries, the ingredients that are used for making soap and face wash and so on. Now, synthetic fiber. Okay, you must have heard the name terylene, terrycot. These are synthetic artificial fiber. So can you believe we can even make clothes using petroleum? And these clothes, you can see, are very attractive. They look very beautiful and they are quite cheap also. Therefore, the demand for petroleum products is increasing. We can also make what? adhesives, adhesive, that means glue like material, even oil paints, okay, even fertilizers. We also already saw this cosmetics and rubber and these things. So multiple things are made using petroleum, and that is why it is versatile. Versatile means which has its use in various industries, okay. But there are few disadvantages using this petroleum. The first one is very simple, dear student. It produces tremendous amount of smoke, and that is definitely causing global warming. The next one is deposits of petroleum are limited. That means it is going to get over, and then there will be lot of problem in the world. So their deposits are limited. Then now look at this. When this petroleum we are transporting it, do you see there is a leakage of this petroleum? And what will happen because of this leakage, dear student? Okay, now look at this. Okay, what is happening? So it will cause destruction of marine life, as well as you see here, when this petroleum will flow towards the seashore, the seashores will also lose their beauty. Dangerous thing. As well as look, they catch fire. Oh my god, that is also resulting into tremendous problems, okay, environmental problems. And that is why we say there are few problems associated with it. Now where do we find this petroleum in our country? Okay, so please remember our country India ranks 24th in the world in overall production, but we are the third largest consumer. And dear students, the reason basically is because we are having a very large population. Now please remember, if this is India, okay, you know here is Arabian Sea. If you find oil away from the seashore, we call it by the name offshore oil field, or if it is found in on the land, okay, that is the second category. The offshore means found in the seas, okay, under the depth of the sea, I mean to say. Okay, where are those main places, the main deposits? Okay, Mumbai, and near Mumbai there is a place called Mumbai High and another place called Basin. Okay, there we find large amount of petroleum. Besides that, in Assam Valley, here Assam region, we find huge amount of petroleum. Then in this Assam, a place called Digboi, that is the oldest oil field. Another one is Nahar Katia, that is also in Assam. In Gujarat, dear students, we find it at places called Ankaleshwar, Lunage and Kalol. Now Mumbai High, okay, is actually a place about 176 kilometer from the seashore, and it is therefore belonging to Maharashtra. So therefore we say Maharashtra is also a large producer, and in fact Maharashtra is the largest producer of petroleum in India, followed by Gujarat and Rajasthan. Now few important facts, please remember, ONGC stands for Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. This ONGC, okay, is a government body, and they produce around 69% of petroleum for our country. Private sector like Reliance, okay, is also given a contract. They are producing around 31% of petroleum and petroleum products. Offshore, that means away from the seashore, dear students, we are finding around 51.6% of petroleum, and in Rajasthan alone 23.29%, which is a very high percentage amount of petroleum found in our country India. Mumbai High is the single largest place from where oil is extracted. Mumbai High, a very prominent place, and one of the important oil rig, its name is Sagar Samrat. Sagar Samrat is a name of a oil rig or oil platform from where large amount of petroleum is extracted. Few important points about oil refineries for our country. We have studied, dear student, refinery is a place from where petroleum will be purified and sent. Now in India, Jamnagar is the largest oil refinery. We have already studied, it is not only the largest in India but also the largest in the world, and it belongs to private sector. Okay, Kochi in South India is the largest oil refinery in public sector. Public sector means which belongs to the government of India. Okay, so there are many oil refineries, and you will find that most of these oil refineries are located on seashore. Located on seashore. The reason, dear students, why are they located near a seashore is that, please understand that our country India, okay, import petroleum. I said import petroleum from other nations, especially from Gulf countries. We import petroleum. So after we import it, so we will basically purify it near the seashore in order to reduce the cost of transport, and second important thing, also to reduce the risk of transport. Okay, so that is why most of the oil refineries will be located on the seashore. Indian oil is the largest oil industry. I'm talking about mineral oil industry involved in purification and supply of petrol, diesel, kerosene for India. So Indian oil belongs to the public sector. That means belongs to government. Whereas Reliance is also producing it. So this Reliance petrol pump that you see over here belongs to private sector. Okay, now you can see the use of petroleum. As I said, we use the word versatile. That means which has use in multiple places. Okay, you can see it is used for extremely large amount of products are made from it. Therefore, it is versatile in nature. But there are few disadvantages that are associated with it. We have already seen them. One of them is pollution that is caused, dear students, and during that pollution, one gas called benzene which is produced is carcinogenic. Meaning of the word carcinogenic is it is causing diseases related to heart. Second thing, their deposits are limited, and the oil spill that is going to occur, that oil spill is responsible for the pollution, and also it is dangerous for the marine life. It will also spoil the beauty of the coastal area. They produce smoke. We have studied these. Look at the oil spill that is occurring here. Dangerous thing. Okay. And dear student, oil refinery we have seen is a place where oil will be purified. Major companies which are involved. First is Indian Oil Corporation. That is the largest in our country. Second is Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. That is you must have seen those HP petrol pumps or Indian oil petrol pumps. So this Indian oil petrol pump will get petroleum product, not petroleum product exactly, but petrol which is purified by Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Similarly, HP petrol pump will get their petrol and diesel from where? You are correct. From Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. Then we have another one called Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. Remember, dear students, these three are belonging to government of India. So they are in a public sector. Reliance is in a private sector, whereas Mangalore Refinery is in a joint sector. Joint means there is an investment from government as well as Joint sector means where there is investment from government and private sector together. We call it by the name joint sector. We have already seen Jamnagar is the largest one in India. Okay, not only in India but in the entire world, and it belongs to private sector, whereas Kochi is belonging to public sector in our country. We have also seen why oil refineries are located near the seashore, because it is inflammable, because it is in coastal location, the transport cost will also be reduced. ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, they have conducted survey. That means they are involved in searching for petroleum in India. So they have carried out a lot of survey, and their greatest achievement is to find Mumbai High as a place for extracting petroleum. Okay, they have also found it in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, in Rajasthan, Coromandel coast is here, Tamil Nadu region, Cambay means Gulf of Khambat, as well as in Krishna, Kaveri and Godavari river basins. Third important fossil fuel for our country is natural gas. Okay, now few important points, dear student, about this, that it is quite cheap, and compared to coal and petroleum, it does not produce much smoke, therefore it is eco-friendly. We can also use it in chemical industry, also for making fertilizers, in cement industry, paper, iron and steel industry, as a source of energy. This natural gas can be converted into LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, which is a very good fuel, and also CNG, which is also excellent fuel. CNG, you must be knowing, stands for compressed natural gas, that is CNG. Okay, we use it as a fuel, of course, and by burning this natural gas we produce heat. That heat is ultimately utilized to produce steam by heating water, and that steam will produce electricity for us. Therefore we can also say it is used to generate thermal electricity. Please remember, our country is one of the largest producer as well as consumer of natural gas, and there is one government body, dear students, called as GAIL, GAIL, that is Gas Authority of India Limited. So what do they do? It is responsible for matters concerned, that means in extracting and in supply of this natural gas, carrying out survey where it is found. So this GAIL is responsible, dear students, for all the matters related to natural gas, LPG. Okay, produced using natural gas. Domestic use, it is basically used as domestic fuel, and also for making the automobile fuel. Okay, as you can see, dear students, here in this LPG is burned, hardly any smoke is produced. Therefore we are calling it eco-friendly. Eco-friendly means the one that does not produce much pollution. Okay, then it is also used for making CNG and of course for getting LPG. Both of them are automobile fuels. Then, dear students, we have to look at certain disadvantages. The first one is, again, this natural gas is very explosive. Okay, you must have heard explosions that are occurring when LPG cylinders burst. Very dangerous. It is highly inflammable. Then in order to transport it, the infrastructure, the basic facilities which are to be made available are quite expensive. And third important thing, yes, you are right, the natural gas deposits are limited, and that's why We cannot depend on them forever. Mumbai High, dear students, and Krishna Godavari Basin, they are producing almost 40% of natural gas for India, followed by Assam that produces 27%. Tripura is also another important state present in northeast part of our country. South basin is present in the Arabian Sea, and Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri basins are also producing a good amount of natural gas for India. Now look at this. This is the pipeline, dear students, for transporting gas. It has to be made of a very high quality. There should not be even minutest of minute leakage over there. So in order to make such a very sophisticated, very high quality pipeline, you require a lot of money.